welcome to Successful Meets. I'm here with J Ryze, and we connected with Jay. Here he is. Through Evan Carmichael. We've done a podcast with him. We've done a bit of work with Evan, and he's been working a lot with J Ryze, and I know they're good friends. I just wanted to connect. So, J Ryze, welcome to the podcast show.
Cheers. I appreciate it. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you here. So, Jay, for anyone who's new to your work, just explain a little bit about yourself.
I help heroes build empires. So I help people rise. I help people elevate to as far as they can go. I believe that like someone's empire, someone's life is a reflection of them. So if I can tweak someone's like beliefs about themselves, their identity, then everything else changes. So if you take someone who thinks they're not creative and you convince them they're creative, boom, huge impact. All of a sudden, everything, their relationship becomes creative, their business becomes creative. If you take someone who believes they're not valuable and you convince them they're valuable, boom, everything changes. They provide more value to everybody. They start to take a stand for what they're worth. They claim what they're worth. So everything's in here, right? If you change the person, you change everything.
That's fantastic. So why is this so important to you? What made you sort of want to do this work?
I've just always been this way. Like since I was a baby or a toddler or something, I get annoyed when things are shitty. Can we swear on this?
Yeah, you can swear. Yeah, you can
censor. You can censor me.
Nah, you're good.
Yeah, I don't like when things are low level. I don't like when things are inadequate. I like to see everything improve. Like I just have a desperate need to have things be better for humanity, you know? And for myself. Like it's selfish, right? Like who doesn't want a better world? And I'm so obsessive about it that like it caused me problems when I was little, and I didn't know how to handle it. And you know, I would just judge everybody and like this could be better, that could be better, everyone could be better. It wasn't a healthy way to use it. But I'm still like that. Like I still want everything to rise up, but I'm just better about it now, and I use it as a career. I use it as a strength instead of putting people down with it.
So you allow it to, yeah. So it's become a sort of a strength as opposed to something that holds you sort of, because it's difficult when you do see the potential in everything, that sometimes people don't want to even explore that potential, and it can be frustrating. I was actually speaking to one of the guys I work with about the same thing yesterday. So let's go back to when you were young then. Let's just go back to that point. I was reading through your website over the last couple of days, getting some info about you. And you said when you were young, you were very popular, but you had a habit of buying friends. Let's go back to that, like buying them through your skills and your talents and your creative stuff. Especially, I like the bit about what you talked about. Is it the prom book or the end of the year book? And you would provide them with poems and creative stuff. Let's explore that bit. That really interests me. It piqued my interest.
So it's interesting you bring that up, because very few people ask me about that time, but it was really interesting. At the end of the year at school, I think everyone is familiar with the yearbook. I don't know if that's what you call it in the UK, but
pretty much the same. Yeah.
And for many years in a row, like people would normally ask you to sign a yearbook, put a little signature, and maybe a quote or a note. But for many years in a row, people would reserve me an entire page in their yearbook. And it's limited real estate, right? Like every kid's trying to save their memories. They want everyone to sign it. But they would set aside a blank page for me to draw like a full page illustration, because I was a talented artist, or write them some kind of poem or lyrics, or a creative like story or prose. Everyone wanted like a J Ryze page. And it was a lot of work for me. but you know, it was status for me, right? I felt special, like I'm the only kid in the entire school who's getting these pages reserved for him, and I had like lines up, queues of people who who wanted a J Ryze original, and I was like, hey, this is great. I can, you know, I can be popular. I can get friends by doing this for them. But it was almost like a full-time job, right? Like it was a lot of work. I could be charging for a page illustration or story, uh, and I was just giving it away, right? It's kind of like a, you know, I was kind of like a slut with my with my abilities,
Yeah,
just giving it to anybody who asked, uh, without discernment. And you know, it made me popular, but it wasn't sustainable. That's not a healthy way to get friends or to like treat yourself.
sure. Yeah, and it's not fulfilling when you know that they're only there for that reason.
Yeah.
So did you have anyone that you felt like was your friend anyway, without all of that stuff? Did you feel like you had proper friends, but these people were just kind of getting to you for a reason?
I mean, I had people I was closer to, but none that I've kept in touch with till today, right?
Mm.
So, I mean, how close were they? Like, I don't look back and think, oh, they were just using me, but I don't look back and think, yeah, that was a true blue mate. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah,
I mean, it is what it is. There's different degrees for everybody. And there were some who were just there for the, you know, just there for the gift, just there for
yeah.
what I was willing to offer. But there were some who were there because we enjoyed being together. We played, you know, we went out, we had fun, we got into adventures and did whatever kids do. And so they were closer, but
So
ultimately,
that's
I didn't keep in touch with any of them.
yeah, and you don't tend to. I mean, I think I know one person from school, and I don't actually live that far away from where I grew up. It just doesn't happen. So growing up, you seem to have an entrepreneurial kind of spark there already. At that point, you almost had a system in place.
You could say that. Um, I'm not the biggest systems guy. Like, you wouldn't look at my business and think, oh, what, you know, what an efficient machine, like just everything systemized. But I have like an entrepreneurial spirit, you know, like
Mm.
I definitely do. I've had a lot of businesses in my life, a lot of failed businesses, and they all taught me, like they all led towards success.
Yeah, now just talk us through some of the early businesses that you started up and how they came about.
uh, so I never know what number to to list because it depends how you define a business. Like the
Yeah,
first one I ever had was a little design company, called Incredibly Clever Design, but I was like 11 or 12, and I'm not sure if I ever had an actual client. Like, you know, my parents paid for it,
yeah.
and aunts and uncles and stuff. Maybe someone from school. I don't know. I can barely remember. So I don't know if it counts as a business, but that was, to me, that's the first one. Uh, and I mean, after that, I experimented with all sorts of stuff: portraiture, web design, graphic design, life coaching, t-shirt line, clothing line. Uh, oh man, so many. Like, it was ridiculous. Blogging, I tried blogging for a while.
Yeah.
I wrote a book, ebook, a couple of ebooks. Uh,
You've done a lot, a hell of a lot. You sort of like tried things out. And I think that's a lot people don't sort of realize is before you get to that one business that actually does start to sort of settle you in, there's a lot of casualties along the way. And that happens to everybody.
yeah, maybe me more than most.
So I was reading your past is sort of very varied. There's also a little bit, you said there was a bit where you ended up homeless for 800 days. How
Yeah,
did that come about?
like 2.5 years or something. I don't have the
Blimey.
exact number, but yeah, I I was living with my aunt and like trying to get a business off the ground. and she eventually had to move, or something happened to her situation, and she basically kicked me out.
Oh God.
I mean, she had to. Like, I mean, it was
Yeah.
rocking a hard place. I don't think it
Yeah.
was fun for her, but but so, and I had a girlfriend at the time. My girlfriend was living with me at my aunt's place,
Hmm.
and so both my girlfriend and I were homeless. And so then it was like a scramble to find shelter and find a place, and we had a place off and on, and like we managed to rent for 3 or 4 months, but then got evicted because we couldn't keep it up.
Yeah.
So then we were homeless again, and I was like pawning expensive cameras to keep things going, and I was conducting my business from the streets. Like, I was doing interviews like this
Hmm.
from a subway platform, train
Wow.
platform, and I would just pray that the train wouldn't go by and be too loud. And I was using like calling cards and stuff. It's back before like, Skype and cell phones. I mean, they were around, but it wasn't like a common thing.
Sure.
And I was homeless, so I didn't have a cell phone. Like, I couldn't carry a contract or whatever. So the interviews were awkward, or I do it from a coffee shop on Wi-Fi if I could manage it. But coffee
Mm.
shop Wi-Fi is rough.
It is. Yeah.
End up sleeping on benches, sleeping on, like, I remember once I was sleeping on newspapers on snow in a Toronto winter.
Blimey.
Yeah, it was pretty, like, that was rough. Like, sleeping in the cold, man, not
Mm.
cool. But it teaches you a lot. Like, it teaches you how strong you are and what you can go through, and how you don't have to take a traditional path in life, and there are always options, and it's not the end of the world to sleep one night in the snow. Like, people act like it's the end of the world, but it's not. Trust me, I've done it. So yeah, I don't know. There was like a lot of miracles happened. Um, and then all I had at the time was like a backpack and my laptop, and then my laptop got stolen.
Bless.
So like, it was like,
Yeah.
one thing after another. But that was an eye opener too, because a lot of clients and people I was helping, I finally had to come out and tell the truth, because I was like, I like to carry myself with dignity. I don't want to burden people with all my issues and problems and stuff. Like, oh, hey, life sucks and whatever. I just want to be helpful and be a good person. And I don't, you know, you never caught me like panhandling or begging people for money or change in the street. I don't. That doesn't feel good to me, right? Like, I want to be valuable, and if I can't, I'm not just gonna leech off somebody and harass them in the middle of their day and stuff.
Mm.
Um, Actually, once I even gave another homeless guy my, like, not my last $5, but like, it was what little I had. I gave him money because he thought I was, like, he stopped and asked me for money because I was walking tall,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to say, like, dude, I'm worse than you. Like, I have less than you, man. You have more in your hat or your cup than I have right now. So I just gave it to him.
Did that take you back to when you were a kid and you were doing the paintings and doing the drawings, and it's the same feeling of wanting to please and be accepted?
Um, that's a good question. That's a very, very, you're a good interviewer,
Thank
Richard.
you.
Um, well, I don't think that feeling ever leaves me. Like, I just want to be a blessing to society,
Mm.
and like, I'm a very fairly flexible person. Like, I can accommodate a lot of things. I have a variety of talents. I'm able to bring a lot to any situation, and it's very rare to find like a line that, like, my lines, where it's like, push this guy, and then it's like, no. So I'm happy to do whatever, right? Um, if it makes people happy, like, if it makes the people around me happy, I'm like a chameleon, or like, I just want harmony.
Yeah.
and I will sacrifice a lot for harmony. Like, well, not sacrifice, but I will adapt a lot
Yeah.
For harmony.
I see what you mean there, and that's something that that's quite hard to find a balance. I mean, how do you find this balance between adapting and giving, then boundaries to the point where you're left feeling like you're given too much and you feel like you haven't got enough left for yourself?
Fantastic question. So my whole childhood, I always felt like I was overgiving, and I didn't have enough left for myself, and it's draining, right?
Mm.
And you can keep it up for a long time if you're like determined. Like if you like, I refuse to, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to put up with it. I'm just going to keep giving, and I'm sure I'll be rewarded for giving that much. Well, yeah, that'll leave you homeless and broke, and
Mm.
you won't be getting anything for yourself, and people won't even know, and you'll still be helping them and giving more and not charging what you should and all this kind of stuff. And so you'll pay for that. Like, that will burn you out, that will drain you, and it did for me. But going through that kind of taught me, like, all right, man, make sure you have some lines, and make sure you have some boundaries, and make sure you have some time or energy or like preferences for you. Go ahead, be adaptive and accommodating, and make everybody happy. Like, that's a great thing for humanity. I think more people should be like that. It would be great if more people were cared about others and did their best to accommodate and help them get what they want. But don't overdo it.
Yeah, don't stretch yourself. You said that you had a girlfriend, and I read in your notes there that I think one of the interviews that you did, you said that she had her own issues and own problems. Was that after you got? I said that you've got, and it is on your website. So you did say you got arrested, and it was obviously something that she'd made up. Were there boundaries that you didn't put in place then to protect yourself?
Oh, for sure. I mean, oh man, like so that was a perfect example, right? I was giving this girl everything: time, space, money, skills, teaching, helping, loving, caring, like doing everything I could. But she was unpleasable, like, because she's not in a good space, right? Like, not in a good mindset. And
Yeah,
neither was I, because if I was in a good place, I would spot that and be like, "Oh, this is not good. I should maybe
yeah,
put some distance or go a different direction or take some time for myself and stop just pouring money into this terrible investment," right?
yeah,
Like, and then she would, like, pay to keep us alive. Like, she'd use her, like, inheritance or savings or something to keep us afloat. But that's not healthy either. Like,
mm,
if you can't make a business succeed, or you can't provide enough value as a person to make money, don't just burn through your savings for someone else. But I let it happen because she wanted to do it, and I'm accommodating. And
yeah,
it's like, it was just bad in so many ways. And then, like, eventually the drama and emotion and stress gets really high, and things, tensions run high, and we have a fight, and she runs out crying, and like, the security guard at the condo sees her and is like, "Oh, why are you crying?" And she's a beautiful girl, right? Model, dancer. Like,
mm-hmm.
I've always had really attractive girlfriends. But so you get the damsel in distress thing, and he's like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And then it's not really a stretch to just, in an emotional moment, start making stuff up or, like,
Yeah,
exaggerating things just for sympathy.
mm,
And so, like, I don't blame her, like, and if anything, I blame myself, because I'm a smart man. I could have spotted this coming.
but
Uh,
it's just blaming, because the reason why I asked that is because I went through a similar thing as well, with someone who had a borderline personality disorder, and I understand the reason that the want to overplease and the want to not have any boundaries for yourself. But you've also just said there that you blame yourself, which is quite interesting, because there even is a point there where you're still taking on quite a bit of responsibility, which sometimes it's just one of those bad situations, and
well,
it
I
isn't
don't take full
anyone's fault. Yeah,
responsibility.
yeah,
She played a part, man. Like,
yeah.
come on, making stuff up and putting somebody in jail. Come
Yeah,
on.
exactly. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
what
So
she she took it back, right? Like she
Yeah.
wrote letters and apologized. And
Well, there's the difference. That doesn't happen if someone's vindictive to the point. So how did you go from where you were, from homeless, for this situation where you were, to where you are? To where was the switch? Was there a point where you changed, your behavior changed, something in you changed?
yeah, I mean, I got suicidal, and I just gave up on life. And like I couldn't even kill myself properly. Like I was failing at every business. I was failing at life. I was abandoned by my family. I was evicted, betrayed, jailed. Like this is like every bad thing that no one wants to happen happened to me. It's like, man, you got to start questioning your sanity, right? Like
Yeah.
what has happened? Where did I go wrong? Like how can this be? Like am I just not a good human? Like why would this ever occur to any person, right? Like and I feel like I've been a people pleaser, right? I've been doing everything you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh technically, like they don't teach you to stand up for yourself. They don't teach you to
Okay.
have boundaries. They don't teach you to claim your energy. They don't teach you to charge your value. No one teaches you that stuff. They just teach you to get along,
Yeah.
be a good soul. Don't ruffle any feathers or rock any boats. So
Yeah.
if they taught me to do that, I might have had a better chance. But anyways, um, so so when you're in like those dark depths of despair, it's like, throw your hands up, and I guess I just end it. But I'm an artist and I'm creative and I'm dignified and I have high integrity and I strive for excellence. So I'm not gonna, and I still love to help humanity. So even if I go, I'm not gonna leave a big like blood stain on the pavement. I'm gonna do it in a elegant way. Because even when I'm homeless, I'm elegant. People didn't even know I was homeless. Oh, and I forgot to finish that laptop story. But a lot of my clients contributed. They started a fundraiser and helped me get my laptop back and
Oh,
helped me get off
bless.
help me get shelter and stuff. So I wanted to say that like it forced me to tell the truth and ask for help, and people did help me. But anyways, it didn't get me off the street or anything. So eventually I ended up back in the same situation, and uh, and so I was looking at ways to kill yourself, and there's lots of ways, like people are people. We're all mortal. Everybody's got to go sometime. So there, there's lots of ways to go, you know, jump in front of a train, take pills, find a gun, blah 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 blah. And no one likes to talk about it, but it's just part of life. Like soldiers, if you could talk to any soldier about it, they think about it, they know about it. But uh I decided I want like pills would be the most, wouldn't leave a mess. It would be peaceful. It wouldn't be painful. It would be, because there's an association or like a company or institution in Switzerland, called the Dignitas Institute, and they help people exit life with dignity. And it's mostly for seniors or people who are like on dialysis machines or people living with extreme pain. And most countries won't let them die. Like they force
Mm.
them to live in misery. But the Dignitas Institute is like, no, it's fine. Like if you live 20 years or 60 years or whatever years, and you you're not enjoying your life, it's fine to leave it. So I was hoping I could get there, but it's pretty hard for a homeless guy to get to Switzerland and get the Dignitas Institute. It's not gonna happen. Um, so then I started looking into their methods, and they use something. I think they use something called pentobarbital. And so then I started looking for ways to get that, but I didn't have an address. So like I found like a source for this thing, but I couldn't get it shipped to anywhere. So then I was gonna get it shipped to like one of my few friends at the time, but like then he's gonna ask questions. What's this for? What are you doing? And then he
Mm.
like it's like not a pleasant conversation. So then I realized like I couldn't even succeed at failing. Like I couldn't even succeed at dying. Like it was like I thought I was a talented, like brilliant, accomplished person, high IQ, like super popular in school. Like I thought I would succeed. I'm super creative and talented and bright, and I just want everyone to reach their potential. And it's like I was faced with the exact opposite of that. Like that was my self-identity, but the results did not show it. And not only that, but like I couldn't even end my life the way I wanted to. So I felt like I had no power and no agency. Like I can't even die the way I want to. This is
Yeah.
insane. Um, so then I was like, all right, well then I guess I'll die of starvation. And I just lay in a park doing nothing. And it's the first time in my life I've ever done nothing because I've always been, I want to be productive. I want to be helpful. I want to be, I want to work hard and be part of society and, be valuable and succeed. So I did the exact opposite. I just did nothing and lay in a park. And I laid there for hours, days, and I started getting bored. Because if you ever try just laying somewhere and doing nothing for a while, you will start to get bored and you'll want to do something, anything. So then I just started giving my advice to people on the internet. I'd go to a library, I'd lay in the park until I got bored, and then I'd go to a library and I just answer people's questions. And I've always been good at answering people's questions because my answers are tailored to unlock people's potential. It's tailored to convince them of beliefs that they don't really have,
Yeah.
Like I said in the beginning, if they don't believe they're creative, my answer will convince them they're creative. If they don't believe they're rich, my answer will convince them they're rich. If they don't believe whatever, they can find a partner, my answer will convince them they can find a partner.
So it seems that you are helping people believe in themselves as much as you believed in you.
Yeah, definitely. I to me, like everyone on the planet can believe anything. To me, there's no limits to belief. I believe Elon Musk can go to Mars. I believe we could take over the like different planets. I believe everything. Like there's no limit to belief. If you just desire it and you want to believe it, you can. So I don't even get why people don't believe stuff for the most part. Um unless they put it on some unrealistic timeline. Like if you're like about to get hit by a train and I believe I can survive this. It's like I still believe it's possible, but I think it's silly and unrealistic to try that level of belief. I feel like saying like I could believe my way through this is possible, but not for someone who's not practiced. That's not it doesn't match up. So I think it's possible to believe anything, but with practice, like not on any timeline.
So you were in the library and you were helping people basically believe in themselves the way you innately believe in yourself, which a lot of people don't have. So you were giving them something back that they probably hoped for deep down, but you were letting them believe in themselves as much as you believed in you. So by giving away, you were getting back. So how was that turn? Did that turn into sort of
Yeah,
like
I
getting
started
you
getting
off the
clients.
streets? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I started getting clients. I started getting money. I started getting like I got shelter. I got like things turned around at that point.
That's incredible. So it's an incredible story. So what did it feel like that first time that you got a client?
Actually, not. It didn't feel as good as you think it would
Mm-hmm.
because I was in a dark place and I was already giving up on life and I was just like, this is better than doing nothing. So I guess I'll do this. It's better than lying in a park. It's like marginally better than lying in a park. So you ask how does it feel? And it's like it feels slightly better than being bored in a park.
Yeah, no, I get
Like
that. I get that. Once you're in that place, you can't feel things. You've almost shut yourself off from feeling good things for a little while.
yeah, and it's pretty hard to go from that to like, yeah, life is amazing. The world is great. I'm so happy for life. I can't believe the planet is so awesome. Like you don't dance around and do that stuff because that's a far cry from where you are. And you might lose that client the next day. Life's already taken everything from you,
Mm.
right? What, you have no guarantees. Like, you do everything right, you do everything society says, and what? You get nothing. So then now you have a client. Great. It's like, yeah, but how long is this gonna last? Like, it's a joke, right? Like you just want to string me along? What is this? Like another few $100 to get me through the day or whatever? Like, you, when you're in those places, like, the turnaround isn't what people think. It's not like I won the lottery. It's just marginally better than.
I think that's an incredibly important point, and very poignant that you say that, because a lot of people listen to this will identify with that turnaround not being instantaneous. And a lot of people feel the pressure when you watch a Tony Robbins and you watch a Gary Vee, and they're all up 100 mile an hour to do that. People, you're not supposed to be like that. You don't row the boat in 100 miles down the river. It's meant to go to bob along. And that means up and down, up and down. And that's normal state of being. So for you to say that, that gives people hope of, oh, I feel rubbish in the morning, but by the afternoon, I actually feel all right a little bit more. Then I'll feel rubbish again. That's normal. So what you're saying there is that you can't have bad things happen to you and just one good thing and it cancels it out. There's a process to this.
Exactly. And you could reach a Tony Robbins or a Gary Vee or a Evan Carmichael level of joy and happiness and energy, but like, to reach that point from Rubbishville is not, it doesn't make sense. It's not really how, like, the laws of physics work, or like the universe. Like, you can build momentum, you can turn around, and things will get better, but it's not instantaneous.
Yeah,
So
it's very
I
important. It's an important point. So you get your first client and you're starting to work. When did things start to gradually feel better? I understand it. So it's a process, but when did you feel like, okay, now I'm not there, I'm here, and there is something's happening here. There's a change in the tide.
well, so I can't remember like the exact day, because it's gradual, like a
Yeah.
you're in boiling water, but uh like, months go by and then a year goes by, and you're like, okay, fine, I've been okay for a year. Like, I've been living okay for a year. This seems stable. This seems like I could build something off of this. So then you start to think, okay, maybe I can do more. Maybe I can be more valuable. Maybe I can help more clients. Maybe I can expand. Maybe I can, improve my life. Um, so then a year goes by of that, and you're like, you have like a slightly better home and a slightly bigger business, and you have better internet. You're not suffering from like cafe Wi-Fi. You're like, hey, I have some good things. Maybe life's not gonna kick me in the nuts again. Like, maybe I can build on this. Uh, so I mean, it's different for everyone, right? Maybe for me it was a year or two or three. Maybe for someone else it's like a decade. Maybe for someone else it's a couple weeks. They're like, hey, I'm back.
Mm.
Um,
But it
and
takes time.
yeah, and if it happened again, I'd be more confident, because if I've been homeless and I've gone through all this and I've managed to get back to success, back to what people think of, then it's like, oh, I could probably do it again and do it better, right? You never get worse at that. If you have that experience, you go through it, you come out stronger. You're like, yeah, you could throw me in like a new town or a desert or whatever, and it's like, yeah, I could do it. I've done it
Yeah.
before.
And it gives you things to pass on to your clients as well. Obviously, lots of life experience and lots you've been there, you have been through it, and you are on your way back. So how do you go from there to working with someone like Evan Carmichael? Obviously, he's got such a huge following. It's someone I very much look up to. He's an incredibly nice person as well. How does that happen?
Yeah, well, he was actually my first client. He basically got me off the streets. Like, he was the one in the library that I was answering, and he saw the magic. He was like, man, Jay's tearing it up. He's offering all this advice. Um, and so we met. Like, he reached out to me and said, I want to meet this guy, and we had dinner, and we ended up talking all night until the restaurant closed, 5 hours or something, about life and business and passion and purpose, and so then I just started working on a small project with him, just a tiny little project, improving one of his landing pages. Um, and for me, it's like, yeah, I see the potential. This landing page could be so much better. I would happy to unlock any potential and rise it up, elevate it. And it doesn't even matter that I'm not like a landing page designer. I just know I can make stuff better with my presence.
Yeah, I get that.
Like you could bring me the world's best landing page designer and I would outdo him, sort of. Like I would never beat him in his career, but I would be able to point out things he could do better. And he would be like, oh, cool, let's try that. Like, nice. Jay made me better. But so we started working on that, and that project grew, and then it grew, and we worked on way more things. And like I can't even count. My Evan Carmichael folder on my computer is like terabytes. It's huge.
Yeah.
We've just collabed on so many things together. So this new business accelerator, the SOAR program, which is what I'm focused on and promoting now with Evan, is like just another collaboration from us. So he's been my longest, oldest, best, most favoritist client ever, because I mean, if you take someone off the streets with you, like if you're their biggest contract or their first contract or whatever, like that never goes away, right? You always remember that. Like,
sure. Yeah. Yeah,
so.
no, it's incredible. So let's tell us a little bit more about SOAR.
Yeah, I'm so psyched for SOAR, man, because the world needs it. I don't know if you've ever checked out any other business accelerators. I don't know a
Here and
lot.
there, but here and there, but in the UK, it's still the self-development world, the coaching world is very much in its infancy still. So compared to where you are, we're probably 5 years behind, I would say at least.
That's fair. Well, so that's actually funny because I look at what we have today, like the business accelerators we have today, and to me they're jokes. Like
Okay.
I don't know a lot about them, but like one look, and I'm like.
So explain to our listener, what is anyone who doesn't understand what a business accelerator is? I mean, what is it?
So it's part mentorship, part coaching, part resources, part investment. Like I said, I don't even know a lot about business accelerators myself. I just know that me as a person, like I accelerate everybody, anybody. Like acceleration and like elevation is in me, right? Like it's my name. Like I help people rise. So like I look at myself and then I look at what I see from these business accelerators and I'm just like, it's just like I don't really want to compete or compare, but I don't know, to me it just seems like two different worlds. Like I could teach someone more in a conversation. Like I feel we've covered more important stuff here now in this podcast, like valuable stuff that no one ever talks about, that affects like your entire life and world and mindset. Like we've covered everything from beliefs to suicide to homelessness to rubbishville to like mindset to I don't know. I don't even know what we've covered, but it's been a lot in a tiny short time. And then I look at what business accelerators do, and it's like they cover nothing in like months.
Yeah. No, I agree. What they do, this is this whole preempt of pretending you're positive when things aren't positive, being this whole pointing out a problem, work solving on an issue to solve it and concentrating on this being an issue, being negative, these negative mindsets. Not to me, a negative mindset is ignoring the truth and ignoring the fact that there's something needs to be sorted here. That's incredibly negative. It has a negative outcome. I mean, how more negative can it get than ignoring that? If you don't go into there and the doctor tells you you've got cancer and you're going, "Don't worry about it," you deal with it. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I think that's
exactly
what
right.
you're saying is that you're dealing with real problems in a real life world of problem solving, entrepreneurship. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a media. I make content by trade, but it's problem solving. So therefore you need to solve the problems, not ignore the problem. And I think
And
that's
we
what
can
we're
solve
doing
it
here.
fast. And we can solve
Acknowledge
it
it.
fast. Yeah. I
To
totally
acknowledge
agree.
the problems first. So you accelerator, you start by acknowledging the issues. And that's what you said, is you can help people look at their work and go, this is a problem. These need changing. But first of all, you've got to point it out.
Yeah, and the potential is there.
Hmm.
We can tap into the potential. We just have to get started. Like
It's
acknowledge
almost
it.
like being a realist.
Yeah, I'm close to a realist. I feel like I lean towards optimism, but I understand the value of calling out the truth.
Yeah, you can still be optimistic, but you need to start be optimistic about the truth
Exactly.
and not bury your head in the sand. And that's why we got into the success for briefly is about safe self-development. It's about getting people who come into self-development world and not having them go down a path of just, quite frankly, bullshit and spending money on stuff, fixing a problem, ignoring the real problem, and getting them, and especially they get taken advantage of when they're very down by people that haven't got their best interests at heart. That's where we wanted to get in to help people. So that's what you like, connecting with yourself, connecting with Evan Carmichael. A lot of the guys we connect with are realists. They go, these are problems that need to be solved. I'm not going to give you a load of rubbish and pat you on the back and give you a cuddle because you'll be back next week, which is what they want, obviously. But with your work, so explain to some of our listeners, how do they get in touch with you, and a bit more about this SOAR Accelerator. How do they get in touch with you and Evan?
So you could just go to evancarmichael.com/soar. There's a big giant red button or black button that says email me.
Yep.
And so you can email me from there. There's all the information on SOAR is there. It's not for everyone. It uses a really unique model. So most accelerators charge a fee. In fact, I think they all do to make money. But SOAR does not. It's not free, but like we become a partner in the business. So if you make money, we make money.
Yeah.
And if you don't, we don't. So like zero risk, really, right? Why not try it?
Yeah.
Except, like, I'm not for everyone. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I take an exclusive select clientele, and I have to feel good about you if I'm going to invest in you and become a partner in a business with no money up front. Like, and I mean, if your business is already making money, then we obviously we start taking a percentage right away. But
of course,
but it's like from the profit, right? Like it's from what you're already making. So anyways, it's unique. It's a very unique thing. So it's a ton of value for very little risk. It's an instant win. Like you can't go wrong. That's all love. Like who does that? Who runs a business like that? No one. Just me. Me and Evan. But at the same time, it takes a very special person to benefit from it, to be a member.
So with that in mind, what sort of I know you can't give specifics, but what sort of feel and what sort of vibe of a person are you looking for?
I can try, right? So there are some things that I look for, right? Are they receptive to my wisdom? Like when I speak, I'm choosing my words carefully in every minute and every moment because I want my words to help someone rise. I want the words to unlock potential. I want this podcast to be jam-packed with wisdom for you, for your listeners, for me. I want people to see the world differently, like to have a fresh view on life. And I do this like naturally. Like I've done it since I was a kid. I choose my words well for the most part. And so if I write a whole bunch of stuff on SOAR and people ignore it, right? If someone writes in, "Oh, I'd love to join," and they ignored some important part that I'd written, I'll dismiss them because I'm looking for someone who is like caring and appreciative and receptive to what I have to say. If they have proven they're not, I kick them to the curb. If they don't seem to be striving for excellence, right? If they're not ambitious, if they're like, "Oh, I want to make a new restaurant," I'm like, okay. But I'd much rather have someone who's like, "I want to create a giant restaurant empire. I want to be the first restaurant on Mars. Okay, now we're talking. All right. I don't know if that's like how it's gonna plan out, but like at least you're aiming high, right? So I want ambition, right? I want heroes. I want empire builders. Uh, so they got to be receptive. They got to be ambitious. They have to believe in themselves and what they're doing. I can amplify belief, but I can't believe for you. If someone doesn't believe, I'm out, right? It's like, what a waste of my time. I believe in everything and everybody, and I think there's like beliefs are unlimited. So if you don't even believe in what you're doing, it's like no. So there's three things that I highly look out for, and there's like other things too, but if I give away, like if I tell everybody the secret, then they'll all just listen to this podcast and be like, oh, I'll make sure I read his website and I'll make sure I listen to the words and I'll make sure. And that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who has it inside, not someone who tailors it because they heard me speak it here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Yeah. So it's been fantastic to chat to you, and I'd love to chat to you some more. So we're sure we'll do this again. But how does anyone get hold of your website? You find you on YouTube, and you've got YouTube channel, you've got social media. How some people find you?
So I'm everywhere. Ryze Online, RYZE online, everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. But really, all I'm focused on right now is that evancarmichael.com/SOAR program, because I hope you can you can feel it in my face and my body. Like that's where the world is gonna change, right?
And guys, so what we'll do is when we put this out, and if you're watching this, go below the video here on YouTube and check out the links, and we'll link it all up to Evan Carmichael's website and the Ryze Accelerator, and also on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, anything like that. We'll put all the links in every post with this. We'll put the video up and the audio on iTunes, SoundCloud, and the video go up on YouTube. Obviously, we'll link you and everything. Put it up on our website, success4.com as well. So, Jay, it's been absolutely fantastic to get to chat to you and go sort of like even just scratch the surface of what you're doing. And especially with Evan, I'm a massive fan of Evan. I think I've got all the time in the world for his and the work that you two are doing. And I love the fact that you've also found boundaries now, which I just realized in that very last bit. You said, like, I don't want to work with you if you do. And that's a case of you've actually found your boundaries. And it's incredibly important. And well done for getting that, because I think that's probably the most, keeping yourself safe, putting yourself first, and knowing that you have value. And that's all you seem to have wanted to do for all your life, is to show people that you have value, be acknowledged, and they have value too. And it comes from a good heart, comes from the right place.
Amen to that. 100%, Richard. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I love the work you're doing. The success world, the development world needs you.
Thank you. Bless your heart. All right. Well, I'll speak to you soon. You take care.
Much love.
Take care. Bye-bye.